I'm Zoe Carter, and this is the Christmas that changed everything. It started the way most of my holidays do, covered in someone else's blood and half frozen on the side of a Chicago freeway. I'm a paramedic. Not the glamorous kind you see in medical dramas who always have witty comebacks and perfect ponytails. Well, I'm the kind who works back-to-back 14-hour shifts, gets yelled at by drunk strangers, and goes home smelling like antiseptic and adrenaline. I've always been the reliable one. The one who shows up. The one who pays the bills. The one who doesn't complain even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. My family. They like to pretend they're still middle class, but I know better. My dad bailed when I was 10, and my mom, Susan, spent the next decade trying to polish our lives like silver that was already turning green. She used to say, asterisk, we're just one lucky break away from making it. Asterisk, and by we, she meant Liam, my younger brother. The golden boy. The future. The one who was supposed to drag our last name into country club territory and leave the rest of us behind in his Ivy League wake. And me. I was the scaffolding. The support beam. The invisible foundation holding it all up. Liam's in his final year of law school now. Top of his class. Dating a girl whose dad owns 3 car dealerships and a golf course in Lake Forest. Mom likes to tell people Liam's on a trajectory. You'd think he was going to be president someday the way she talks about him. But what no one ever mentions, what they deliberately leave out, is who paid for it. Spoiler. It wasn't Susan. It was me. Every second job, every skipped vacation, every night shift on Christmas Eve. All of it. I've been covering his tuition for the past 3 years. Quietly. Without thanks. Without acknowledgement. Just wire transfer after wire transfer. While Susan gushes about his future and barely asks how I'm doing. It's like being a patron saint nobody lights candles for. And yet, despite all that, I never expected this. I never thought they'd actually shut me out. That they'd go through with it. That they'd have the Christmas dinner. Asterisk our asterisk family tradition, and not invite me. It was 2 weeks before Christmas when I found out. I was just getting off a night shift, chugging coffee that tasted like cardboard when I checked my messages. One voicemail. My mom's voice, syrupy sweet, fake concern dripping from every syllable. Asterisk, Zoe, honey. We need to talk about Christmas. Asterisk. I didn't know it yet, but that message. That was the snowball at the top of the hill. And once it started rolling, nothing was ever going to be the same. Because here's the thing. I might be just a paramedic to them. But I'm done playing the invisible hero. And this time I'm not going down quietly. It happened on a Wednesday. I remember because I just pulled a double shift and was halfway through microwaving 3-day-old lasagna when my phone rang. Mom flashed on the screen. Decide. Susan never called unless it was about Liam or some family gathering I was expected to show up to and keep quiet. Picked up. Zoe, honey. Her voice had that brittle sweetness I'd learned to fear. We need to talk about Christmas. Instantly my stomach dropped. Okay, I said, half expecting her to guilt-trip me into bringing a fancy bottle of wine or a pie from that overpriced bakery in Lincoln Park. But then she continued. This year's going to be different. Liam's bringing Claire, his girlfriend. Her family is. They're very proper. Very traditional. We're trying to make a good impression. You understand, don't you? I blinked, staring at the blinking microwave. Okay. And. There was a pause. Just long enough for the silence to crawl under my skin. We just think. It might be better if you didn't come this year. I felt like the floor dropped out from under me. Wait. What? It's nothing personal, sweetie, she rushed to say. It's just, well, Claire's parents are coming too, and we're keeping things very formal. Liam's worked so hard, and this dinner is important for him. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so surreal. You're uninviting me from Christmas dinner. Because I'm not formal enough? Because I'm what? A paramedic. Zoe, no. Don't twist this, she said, suddenly defensive. It's not about your job. It's about appearances. You know how judgmental people can be. It's just one dinner. You work holidays all the time anyway, don't you? That was the nail in the coffin. The casual way she brushed me off like a shift swap. Yeah, I said, voice flat. I do work holidays. Because someone has to clean up the mess when things go wrong. There was a long pause on her end. We're not trying to hurt you, Zoe. Too late. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. I stood there, lasagna forgotten, feeling like I'd just been erased. Not by strangers. Not by the public I serve and save every day. But by my own family. Because I didn't look right. Dress right. Earn right. They were hosting dinner with linen napkins and champagne flutes. And I was the blood-stained embarrassment they didn't want seated at the table. They toasted to Liam. To his future. Claire. And I wasn't even on the guest list. I sat in my crappy studio apartment, staring at the wall like it owed me an explanation. My lasagna sat untouched on the counter, cold again. The phone call with Mom had ended 20 minutes ago, but her words kept circling in my head like vultures. Asterisk. We just think it would be better if you didn't come. Asterisk. Better for who, exactly? I felt my chest tighten with something between rage and heartbreak. I wasn't stupid. I knew my family looked down on me. They never outright said it, but it was there. In the way Mom always corrected me when I said ambulance instead of emergency medical transport, or how Dad used to tell his friends I was between careers because being a paramedic wasn't prestigious enough for their dinner parties. But this was a whole new level. It wasn't just about me being a paramedic anymore. It was about me being a liability, an embarrassment, a stain on the Carter family's desperate attempt to climb into upper-middle-class fantasyland. Liam had finally bagged himself a rich girlfriend, and suddenly my existence was inconvenient. And the kicker, I was the one paying for that golden boy's damn law school. I opened my laptop with shaking hands and logged into the tuition account I'd set up for Liam 2 years ago. I remember the day I opened it. He was so excited, called me the best sister ever, said he'd make me proud. What a joke. The screen loaded slowly, but when it did, the numbers hit me like a punch to the gut. Almost $19,000. That's how much I'd paid just in the last semester. And there I was, eating expired lasagna and washing my socks in the sink to save on laundry quarters. I clicked, cancel automatic payments. Just like that. A little warning message popped up. Asterisk. Are you sure you want to cancel this payment method? Asterisk. Hell yes, I was sure. If I was invisible, then so was my damn money. I grabbed my phone and scrolled through my texts with Liam. Nothing but sporadic thanks. Or, can you send it early this month? No, how are you? No, wanna grab lunch. Not even a birthday message last year. So I texted him. Hey, just a heads up. You and Claire won't have to worry about me embarrassing you at Christmas. I also won't be funding your next semester. Merry fucking Christmas, Liam. Delivered. Read. No reply. A few minutes later, my phone lit up with a call from him. I let it ring out. Then another from Mom. Declined. Then a third from Dad. Straight to voicemail. And for the first time in years I felt powerful. Petty. Maybe. Vindictive. But for once, I wasn't the family's emotional ATM. I was a human being. One who was done financing her own erasure. They could toast to Liam's future all they wanted. But they'd be doing it without me. And without my money. Cheers to that. Christmas Eve. I was supposed to be home, wearing that stupid green sweater Mom gave us all last year, smiling for photos I'd never be tagged in. But instead, I was on shift, riding the ambulance through a freezing Chicago night, wrapping pressure bandages while my family played pretend in their Pinterest-perfect dining room. They'd probably set the table with Mom's best china, the one she only brought out when she wanted to impress. I could picture it all. The wine glasses clinking, the roast glistening, the polite fake laughter. Liam probably wore that smug expression he saved for when he talked about tort law or golf. And her, the girlfriend. I imagined she was sitting there smiling with practiced elegance, no idea the law school bill was once covered by the embarrassment of the family. I should have cried. Maybe screamed. But you know what? Felt weirdly calm. There's a kind of freedom in being cut off. When you're not trying to earn a seat at the table, you stop caring how they said it. The funniest part. At 7:18 p.m., while I was wrapping a teenager's fractured ankle on the icy sidewalk outside a Walgreens, my phone buzzed. It was a text from my mom. Merry Christmas, sweetie. Hope your shift isn't too rough. We saved you some pie. I stared at it like it was written in another language. The audacity. No apology. No acknowledgement of what she said just days ago. It was pie. I didn't reply. Instead, I finished the call, helped the kid into the ambulance, and sat in the back while my partner drove. The heater rattled. My fingers ached. But weirdly, I felt more myself than I ever had in that damn dining room. Later that night, I did something petty. Not proud, but hey, this is Reddit. I logged onto Instagram and posted a picture from my shift. Me in my paramedic jacket, smiling next to a patient who insisted on taking a selfie. Don't worry, HIPAA was respected. No faces, just vibes. Caption. Serving the real heroes this Christmas. Not invited to the family table, but honored to be at this one. Liam saw it. I know because he texted me an hour later. Seriously. You're making this public. I didn't answer. Because for once, I didn't owe anyone a damn explanation. You know, when I first did what I did, cutting off Liam's tuition payments, I wasn't thinking about the full fallout. I didn't think about what would happen next. But damn, it didn't take long for it to come crashing down. The first person to notice was his girlfriend, Sophia. The one he'd been dating for the past 6 months. The girl who came from money, real money. You know, the type that still goes to brunch in places where the waiter calls you ma'am, and your iced tea costs more than my rent. She must have figured it out when she found out Liam wasn't exactly paying his own bills, and guess what? She wasn't having it. It's funny, people always think money can fix problems. But Sophia, she wasn't into the idea of dating someone who was basically living off his older sister's paycheck, especially when that sister was a lowly paramedic, and not some high-powered professional. I heard from Liam's friend, the one who wasn't a complete douchebag, that Sophia dumped him as soon as she found out the truth. She called him a freeloader and shameless. There went his girlfriend, and with her, any hope of climbing into her family's circle. But that wasn't the worst part. No, the worst part was when the law school found out. Liam hadn't paid his tuition, and that was it. They kicked him out. Liam had always been so good at pretending things weren't as bad as they were. But with his fancy girlfriend gone and his school spot taken away, he couldn't hide it anymore. He called me the day he was kicked out. His voice was shaky, and for once, I could hear the desperation. Zoe, you ruined everything, he yelled, the words cutting through me like glass. You ruined my future. And in that moment I realized something important. This wasn't just about the tuition. It wasn't about me taking away his chance at a better life. It was about him realizing that he had been living on my sacrifices this entire time. And now that cushion was gone. I had always been the one footing the bill, the one pretending that everything was fine. But once that rug was pulled out from under him, he had nothing. And honestly, I didn't feel sorry for him. The fallout didn't stop there. My parents, mom and dad, got involved. They started calling me, the two of them in a three-way call. You can guess the tone. Furious, disappointed, accusatory. They said I was selfish. That family sacrifices for each other. Yeah, sure. That's what they'd been telling me for years, right? Family sticks together. But here's the thing. Why was I always the one doing the sacrificing? I told them what I had to say, but it didn't matter. They were too far gone in their need to climb up the social ladder to see it. To them, I was just the invisible daughter who didn't matter unless I could pay for things. And now, they were all pissed off at me because I'd stopped. But none of this mattered. Liam was in full meltdown mode, and my parents. They were too busy trying to fix him to even see how badly they'd messed up. They saw me as the enemy now, the traitor, the one who'd betrayed them all. Well, here's the twist. As things unraveled for Liam, people started picking sides. Some of my family members, the ones who had always thought I was a joke, came to my side. They saw what I was doing, and even though they didn't like it, they understood. The others, well, they called me a selfish bitch and washed their hands of me. But the truth was out, and there was no going back for any of us. And for once, I didn't care. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't holding everyone up anymore. Everything hit its breaking point that day, when I thought things couldn't get any worse. But, as I've learned in my life, there's always a way for it to get worse. Liam showed up at my work. No heads up, no phone call, just barged into the ER where I was working during peak hours. It was chaos. I was prepping to move a patient to the X-ray room when I heard shouting behind me. "Zoe! What the hell did you do to me? How could you do this?" Liam was standing there in the middle of the room, looking like a bomb about to go off. His shirt was all wrinkled, face red, eyes filled with rage. I was in complete shock, not because he showed up but because of how he showed up. The whole ER turned to look. Patients, co-workers, everyone saw it. And when he yelled at me in front of everyone, that's when it hit me. It was all out in the open. It was a mix of humiliation and anger. The thing I'd always tried to avoid was happening. I was being exposed in front of everyone. They were all witnessing Liam's rage, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. "What the hell are you doing, Liam?" I yelled back, trying to stay calm, though my insides were boiling. This is not the place to sort out family drama. He didn't listen. "You ruined everything. You're the reason I lost everything. My girlfriend, my tuition, everything. How could you do this to me?" My co-workers stood frozen, some of them nervously glancing at each other, others looking downright uncomfortable. It was hard seeing them witness this. But then, as if by some twisted luck, one of the patients in the ER started recording the whole thing and uploaded it online. I don't know who they were, but within no time the video went viral. And just as I expected, the public rallied behind me. I guess people were just tired of stories like this. People like Liam, who live off others without a second thought. And so my video with me, a former paramedic, facing my brother's rage, became the center of attention. I started getting messages from strangers, offering words of support. Some said they understood what I was going through, that they too had sacrificed for people who never appreciated it. Meanwhile, Liam couldn't handle the embarrassment. His reputation tanked almost immediately. His law school buddies started distancing themselves. People didn't want anything to do with someone who could lose everything just because of a temper. My family started shifting their views too. Mom called, telling me I'd embarrassed the family, but I knew deep down that he was the one who had destroyed himself. Liam had brought this on himself, and I wasn't the only one left standing there anymore. He had gone too far, and now he was going to pay for it. It's funny how life works, right? One minute you're the invisible one, the one everyone pretends isn't there, and the next you're free. After everything that went down, I spent Christmas in the ER, not by choice but because that was where I felt I was appreciated. My co-workers, the ones who saw me for who I was, the paramedic, not the outcast sister. They weren't trying to climb any social ladder or hide me away like I didn't matter. They cared, they genuinely cared. And to be honest, it felt like the first Christmas I had in years. My phone buzzed a few hours before the shift ended. It was Susan. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Maybe out of habit, or maybe because I thought I was owed some closure. "Zoe, I want to talk," she said, her voice shaky, like she was trying to hide the guilt in her words. "I know things have been hard, but we're family. You're still my daughter." I didn't say anything for a moment. I could hear her breathing on the other end, waiting for me to say something, anything. I couldn't bring myself to speak. All I wanted was to hang up. Finally, I responded as calmly as I could. "You really think that makes a difference? You think I owe you my forgiveness after everything you've done?" She stuttered. "I'm sorry, Zoe. I was wrong. We want to make things right. Please come home. Come back for Christmas." I sighed, shaking my head, even though she couldn't see me. "You're not hearing me, Mom. You don't get to just erase everything with an apology. You can't just pretend it didn't happen." I didn't respond to her after that. She kept texting me, apologizing, begging me to come back, but I didn't reply. It was too late for that. She thought an apology would fix things. Didn't work that way. And as I sat there in the ER, watching my coworkers laugh and joke, I realized something. Something I hadn't allowed myself to understand for so long. I wasn't just family to them. I was a person. And for the first time, I wasn't the one fighting for their approval. I didn't need their forgiveness. I wasn't their A-team anymore. I wasn't their punching bag, their afterthought. And for the first time in years, I was finally free. Christmas wasn't about the dinner, the gifts, or the family drama. It was about finally realizing that I didn't need to bend over backward for people who wouldn't even acknowledge my existence. And I wasn't going to keep pretending for them. I knew what I had to do. And in that moment I was done. Felt good. Real good.